Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to a design review for Welcome Language for version 13.2. And I guess is this our first meeting about sound and vision stuff for this version?
Yes.
Okay. GUI to auto rotate based on camera top orientation. So how do I see this?
This is not in prototype yet. Hopefully nothing will be visible by the user. Videos will just be oriented the correct way. That's the goal.
Okay, fine.
And this was a user complaint for the previous versions. So hopefully some users will be excited to see that.
Is there programmatic control if you want the thing to be, to be oriented differently?
We didn't add an option to the video object or import. I think we can add it to
There
import.
is the possibility to do so for probably the next version, but the framework that we are putting in place will be able to accept the input from the user.
Okay. As a GUI or what?
As an option, most likely.
Okay, fine. But so we just haven't defined that option yet.
Correct, and we are not confident enough into covering all of the corner cases. There are some cases of non-multiple of 90 degrees rotations. It's unclear if they are actually useful. So there is more that we need to investigate before.
Ethan comments he'd like to be able to click on the video object and resize it with his mouse.
Yes, we would like that too. It is on the roadmap, but unfortunately it relies on the front-end feature that isn't there yet.
Okay, all right.
At the moment, the best bet might be just using the image size option, unfortunately.
Okay, what's new in overlay video? What's new here?
Text and expression, those tentative tables. As far as overlay, we supported another video or an image as an overlay. Now we're supporting text or style text or any arbitrary expression.
What about so arbitrary graphics as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Graphics was already supported. Now, the last item of that tentative table is a function. So we also accept a time varying expression. So a function of time. So if you want
an animation,
you mean an animated image?
Well, I don't. Yeah, maybe, but I mean, yes, that. But what about? But so this thing here is a function with t as a time in seconds, or what?
Yes, in seconds.
Seems okay. I mean, but arbitrary function. You mean a function, is that correct?
It can be an arbitrary expression that if we apply, if we do f of t, will return something sensible. The result of it is checked.
I don't understand. An arbitrary expression with a variable t.
So it can be a down value defined function. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be a down value defined function, a function, a time series, for example.
I see. But it's a thing. So you need to make that look a little bit clearer, but it's something which is applied to, and you need to say what it's applied to. Yes. Applied to time in seconds.
Correct.
Okay. What's new here? This is the same
thing.
Parameters.
A time varying function.
Okay. All right. Video time range. What does that mean?
Now, grid video, overlay video, and the family of video frame map, video map can accept multiple videos. The one thing we had to hardcode in the previous versions was if videos have different duration, how do we handle them? Do we take the shortest where we have content from all of them? Do we get longest and We just do some kind of a padding. The choice until now was that we take the shortest, which is the intersection of available content. Now, with this video time range option, we're proposing that we can say we want intersection, union, or even provide a time interval.
Oh, come on, guys. Surely you can do better on the design than this. Okay, so you've got, it's like multiple time series, right?
Yes.
How do we do this for time series?
So the time series have baked in some interpolation, right?
But the time series has time in it.
Hey, actually, we have a suggestion here from Sandra on our live stream. It's an interesting suggestion. It says he was just trying to do something with the video, putting a time code on the video, but also wants to be able to have something which puts the frame number into the video. That's a good suggestion. That instead of this function taking, just the time variable, why not have it take hash time, hash frame, etc.? Why not have it take the usual collection of association variables? We're back now to overlay video.
Right. The messiness there is that we typically want a slot without a name to work. That's very convenient to just say.
Well, yes and no. I mean, unless, but don't we normally in video time series map, video map time series, what is it called?
Video map time series.
Yeah, okay, fine. In that case, we have hash time, hash frame, etc., don't we?
True.
Does it have a frame number as well?
Actually, frame number we don't have. That might be
useful.
Yeah, that would be a useful thing to add. Yes.
Let's add it. Okay, but in any case, but the question here is whether we want to be able to have something where the overlay isn't just based independently on time, but can depend on something else, and do we want to provide those variables?
So frame index and time are interdependent, obviously. So if it is just that, I'm not sure it is worth the complication. I'm not sure what other things you had in mind that it could depend on.
But I don't know. I mean, but everything, video time series map has like 4 or 5 things it can depend on.
Yes, it can deal with it can get frames, it can get chunks of the audio track, it can get the time, and I think the time interval, which gives you the boundary, the time boundaries of that frame. Essentially, all of the video map functions go more into detail, are more for the advanced user, where all of these facilities are available. All of these overlay video frame map are essentially shortcuts to try to streamline some use cases. All of this is achievable just by using video map.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I can see the argument for putting a frame number here, but I understand also why you can't have both things.
Yeah, I'm not against either. Just I think only one argument to this function that is not an association would be convenient, I think.
Are you sure that you couldn't just have it be an association and you'd have hash time or hash frame number?
We could. That would force users to essentially just would point users to use pure functions, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but would kind of make the down value case slightly more annoying.
Well, the down value cases just have to say f of hash time ampersand, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, but every single time it's like look, people who are annotating videos are often going to be annotating them for very detailed scientific type reasons, for which frame number is relevant. Am I making sense?
Yeah, we could switch this f of time to f of frame index.
No, don't do that. That's a mistake.
I'm not sure I agree fully with this statement you said. Something, as Carlos said, something like overlay video. I think people in different fields may compute things for scientific reasons, fun reasons, different things.
Yeah,
but
but
at the point that they want to overlay a video over another video or some object.
Different. That's different. This is the case of the function where it's explicitly pulling out a time variable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the only case we're talking about here. We're not talking about any other case. Right? So the question is it being fed an association where it's hash time, hash frame number, or is it being fed just a pure time? What's our analogy with video generator functions and so on?
The video generator only takes time as input.
Then that's what we should do here. We can't make that inconsistent.
We can make sure to exemplify this to show the user how to get the frame index.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's talk about video time range. Okay, so now you've got multiple videos and you're putting them together. And the question is, how do they, it's like multiple time series, and in some cases there's only one live time series at that moment. In some cases there are 2 or 3. What do you do? Am I right?
That is correct. The difference that time series has is that it has baked in a missing data method and a resampling.
Yeah, whereas it's not obvious what you do with a video if you just don't have a video in that region.
Correct.
And does time series have an obvious padding option, padding mechanism? Because resampling, yes, we can.
No.
I don't think so. I think if you ask for a value beyond beginning and end time, you just get a message that says we can't get you that value.
Let me test that. I'll let you know.
Okay, but hold on. What does this do? So you've got, what's a typical case here? This is the case for, grid video, for example, and there was a video of a swimming turtle and a flying frog or something, and the swimming turtle video was shorter than the flying frog video.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So
at the moment, we take the shortest, and that's obviously not.
That's obviously wrong.
I mean, what is the alternative is to not have this and just say that's outside the scope of those functions and do whatever processing you have to do beforehand.
I'm trying to understand what. Okay, look.
I mean,
that's a conform video thing. I mean, that will be one approach, some kind of conform.
No, I'm just saying that in an alternative way is that
you conform them first, and you define how you pad them to conform them.
Right.
You
can achieve anything that way. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Right. So the question is, what is this, and is it more or less confusing than pre-padding?
So just to note, the advantage of this is you don't have to create additional assets in the middle of the operation to just discard them after.
I understand that, but okay, let's say the total video ended and you just want it to be, green in place of the total video in that place in the grid. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So by default, we're already planning to switch the default value of this option to union. So this will take the longest and will pad all of the other tracks.
I understand, but how do you pad it? How do you
0
know?
black frames, silence audio.
And you can see the last sentence there.
Yeah.
Uses video track padding and audio track padding to say how things are padded.
Which is not the same as what you said here about with a generic padding option.
That one is slight outdate with Roger's Roger's notebook. Sorry, Roger and I didn't meet.
Okay, all right, fine. So
and originally we were thinking we'll use padding, just that the use of padding became a little too messy. So just yesterday, Carlo and I thought maybe it would be easier to split audio and video.
Let me make a suggestion. I don't understand why you're not just using video trim or whatever it's called. Why you're not just taking union by default, and then any of these other things, you just trim the video to whatever you want it to be.
I'm not against that. That was the initial implementation. We thought offering a bit more flexibility to the user if they had specific users.
But I don't understand, because isn't it just wrapping one function? What's the function called that trims?
No, it's not really wrapping. This is doing things a bit more efficiently than this two-step process of trimming and then doing the operation. This is baking, essentially just seeking in the parts that needs to be seeked.
And when one video finishes, looks at the padding values and uses
but I don't
that.
understand. Where does this go? Is this in the outer function? And if so, how does it reference? Okay, but the first T seconds of all videos, of all inputs, I don't understand that, because you might want sort of, the frog has not yet started jumping. So you want that one to be black. And then you want to align. Okay, let me understand something. Don't we have absolute times possible in videos? How do we do, it's like sound notes and things. How do we do the concept of, you've got, in your grid, okay, I'm gonna take jumping frogs as an example. In your grid, I want the grid square that corresponds to the frog when it is jumping to light up. And at other times I want it to be black. So within that video, there was a moment the frog jumped at 3:17 p.m. Another frog jumped at 3:18 and 20 seconds, and so on, right? I want to line those up so I'm seeing the sort of the full, jumping in real time, so to speak, with the little boxes in the grid video coming up when there was a jump there.
So yeah, that I think is a slightly different use case than what we had in mind for this. The idea of video time range is not to change the alignment between tracks, if that makes sense. So you're not.
Yeah, I got it. They're all anchored at one at the beginning.
Correct.
But isn't it the case that video has the possibility of having some kind of absolute time marker in it?
No, those are you can get some metadata of when the file was saved. Sometimes when the video was shot.
Oh, wait. I thought audio had the possibility of having an alignment that was based on an absolute time, or am I wrong?
No. Not that I am aware of, at least.
Well, okay, but time series does have that.
Yes.
Time series absolutely has that.
Yes.
Seems useful for audio and video as well.
So that is not produced when you.
I've never seen that. Have you seen that in any format or standard?
No, I have not seen that in any metadata.
I wouldn't surprise me if it eventually arrives, but we have not seen that.
No, but it seems like something for, if one's using these things for scientific purposes, it seems useful to me. If one really is going to compare videos and things, rather than.
I think that, for many of those things, like let's say images, image workflows in medicine, I think that they record when things were recorded.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other, it's 400 other properties for,
some random DICOM image or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I haven't not seen that in video, but.
Okay, fair enough. But
you can store whatever metadata you want, but I haven't seen a codified way of.
I bet there are dates. I think that metadata can be anything. I'm sure it can be recording date or some such.
But the timestamps are always relative.
Okay, but to me, it seems like this is a somewhat impoverished piece of functionality anyway, relative to what it could be. I would have thought it would be better to just take union by default and specify in each individual video. Well, the video track padding, does that go in each individual video, or is that going in over?
All of these go in the functions that eat videos.
But so every video has to have the same track padding. Is that correct?
With this design we have there, yes.
Yeah. Rebecca, who is developing this, has been working on accepting different video padding for each input, but it's not ready yet.
Okay, but how would you do that from a design point of view?
I would do it similarly to time series, right?
Which is what?
Time series
put it into the video.
Yeah, exactly. Time series has the missing method, right? The missing method handling in each time series.
And why does it say video track padding? Why isn't it just video padding?
We were unsure on the name. Those were our two candidates.
But so in general, an audio padding would either be silence or Muzak or something.
Yeah, at the moment, I think we only support a real value, so it's constant padding. But that's no reason why.
What is it in audio? What does that mean?
Silence.
Constant is silence.
Different types of silence.
How can there be different types of silence?
Well, your speaker position will be different. You will not hear anything anyways.
Whatever. That's in the category of
yes.
Yeah, right.
Silence.
Who cares? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But so there's only one setting for audio track padding then. What happens if I set
effectively yes.
But why do we have an option if there's only one setting for
it?
So this is so you're right that it is silence, but if you're looking at analysis operations like looking at the max value or whatever, that could affect it.
Ugh.
I think it's a very corner case as well.
That's fair.
We could do other audio paddings like reflected or periodic, but I really don't think any of them will be useful. The only one is silence.
Yeah. So let's just review this again. So the question
I think that there are other things that we're missing for audio, which is, tapering down, tapering up.
Sure.
The audio fade we have, you're right.
Yeah, fading it down, fading up, or unfading.
Look, what you're basically saying is, first of all, I'm not buying the video time range thing. I think these things should just be union.
Okay.
And
as I said, I'm not against that, and that was
and I don't really know what this video padding thing is going to be, other than I suppose you could imagine some frame coming up saying we're not ready yet or whatever, rather than just black.
I think fixed is another good default. If you click on that video track padding, we have it documented.
Yeah. Here's the boundary frames for padding. What does that mean?
It means a frozen frame.
Freeze it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those are somewhat useful. Okay, so let's just understand what this is again. I mean, are there other functions? Like, is there a video trim or video take? What happens if you do a video take over a larger range than the actual video occupies?
I think at the moment that just returns the original video, but I'd have to verify to make sure that is true.
Because, I mean, there could be a padding for that as well. And it could be, you have the jumping frog and then the frog is frozen for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, at the moment it just returns the original video. So essentially intersection, I guess.
I think that would be a really bad side effect, Stephen.
Well, okay, but so what you're suggesting is a video padding option, which is an option either to the over function, like grid or something like this, that sort of reaches down and pads the videos when they don't fill the, full time, or video padding as a function, as an option to a video itself, where it looks to see what the over function is asking for and pads with whatever it's, coming up being told to pad with. Is that correct?
I think so.
The original proposal was both video track padding and video time range to be options for the over function. However, I could see moving the video track padding to the video object itself.
Well, as an alternative, right? In other words, you look for video padding arrow automatic in the over function will then look to the under functions if, right? I mean, I don't know whether that's the correct precedence order. Yeah.
And would it be okay to roll out the two in two separate phases, or did you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But video, and I think it should probably be called video padding. I don't really see the point of the track word.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
you think audio padding is never going to be added, I'm wondering why not go back to padding?
Well, again, the padding, unfortunately, with grid video, we have some spatial frame by frame padding, right? Padding size, and I'm worried
Oh,
that
because of different fittings. Yes.
I would leave it as a video padding option.
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
And there's no function video pad or anything like that. What are the functions that allow you to? Is there a video trim? I can't remember. There's video
There
take.
is a video trim, yes.
Okay, but is there a video anti-trim? Is there a video pad?
There is no video anti-trim.
Okay.
I think we could have a video pad, or we could
talked
change
about
video
multiple
trim.
times
pad.
about video pad or confirm videos. Either of the two. I think video trim, as Roger said, having the side effect of generating giant video for a mistaken second argument is a bit dangerous, but
Yeah, it
Okay.
seems.
No,
silly.
I mean, there was video take that he said, but
yeah,
you know.
I mean, we don't have video take, we have video trim, which
Fine.
does essentially.
All right,
video.
let's keep going. Okay, next up here we have generated asset location, cloud object public. Yeah, well, okay, so what that's for is make it so that I can send this notebook to somebody and not have it have unfound videos, right?
Correct.
That's fine. Now, I hope that we're going to have that easily accessible from the GUI underneath the video, right?
We've made an update for the audio. For the video, it might be in the next release.
Let's try to push
we
hard
can-
to get it in this release. It was really a bad idea to not have that. Let's
We
try.
we can add it easily from the ... menu. I think that should be
Oh, yeah, just
something
let's make sure
reasonable
that we
timeframe.
get it. Okay. I mean, do I need
So
to look
here-
at this to understand what you're talking about there?
So this is just the value of the option, right? You could, for example, if
No,
you do
I
an animation
understand
video,
that. I understand that. I'm asking. I just want to be able to see if I take video and I just take an example video here, then okay, now where does it say video is not in the
it doesn't. I think the way where we could have this easily accessible is in that menu, I think.
yeah, but we need some indication that the video is not in the notebook here. Otherwise, this is just going to be a disaster every single time. It's already bitten me many times. It's kind of like, it's just dumb. I mean, you know.
So
We'll
the
have to
cloud
go, I
object
guess.
pub-
Yeah, go ahead.
So the cloud object public thing, you could set your $generated asset location.
I
so
don't
all
care
those
what I'm
things-
setting. I don't care about setting anything. I'm telling you, this, look.
Yeah, and I am aware of what you're talking about.
I mean, that one is stored in the notebook, but then presume, what? Wait a minute.
I usually use 1 million to get
There we
that.
go. Data not in notebook, store now.
Yeah, yep.
Now,
We
audio
really need
object
that.
has it in prototype. If you do audio of example data, car.mp3, or yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to record lots of audio here. See what happens. Really? That's in the notebook now, is it?
That is not in a notebook. But
Well, then
you
why
still
doesn't
get-
it say it?
So
Hover
this would-
over that arrow on the right.
So, yeah.
Ah, bullshit. Come on. You got to do better. This is our pattern. Use it. Data
This is-
not in notebook, store now. Don't give me all
for
the
the
data in
tooltip?
local file. Yeah,
Okay,
just
okay.
I really don't like this. I really don't like it. This is just going to burn people every single time. That's silly. You can have more stuff. Look, okay. Can you please try to come up with a version of this that follows the pattern that we have here? If you can't do that, I'll try and word it for you.
So, okay.
No, the wording we can change. I just want to make sure do you want the text visible by default or tooltip is fine?
I think you should say here local file. I don't think the name makes a damn bit of difference to anybody, but what's important is that's a local file.
I won't disagree. Yep. In the case of in notebook and memory, we can say either nothing or a notebook.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But I mean, I think this needs a design. This needs a design which makes it clear this is not in the notebook. Okay. So sending some of the notebook is not going to work. Okay. Now, I don't know. I mean, something as small as this, I don't know how big this is. Does it say how big it is? No. Why doesn't it say how big it is?
It's 5 seconds, but it doesn't.
No, but why doesn't it say right in the duration, size, blah, 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 kilobytes or whatever?
The size can be misleading because if it is an MP3 and then you import in a notebook, the size can balloon up several.
We can compute that as well.
MP3? Hold on.
We will as soon as notebooks have these assets, can handle assets. We have talked to John and Frontend about that a lot. And
okay, so wait a minute.
there
Are you telling me
that
right now, if I say store in notebook, it's just going to blow the thing up? Because that's not going to work. What you should do is store it as a byte array.
Can you click? Well, it is stored as a byte array, right?
Okay, so then don't. No. But I'm saying the following: don't expand it up. You know, if it's a .mp3 or something, just store the MP3 as a byte array. But with some kind of decompressor.
File.
What's that?
We need an actual file to access the data in Plate and process it and all of these things.
Well, no, but wait a minute. This is the case where you are going to store it in the notebook. If during that kernel session you want to create a temporary file, export it to a temporary file and manipulate it there, so be it. But the important thing is that transfer-wise, it's in the notebook and it didn't get blown up into some huge mega symbolic structure.
And that's the plan with the front end is going to provide this temporary file system.
I understand, but I'm saying even before that happens, you do it yourself.
I don't think it'll fit into 13.2 anyways at this point. Image has the same has suffered from the same thing for a long time. I would just happily wait for frontend to give us.
Image is in the notebook.
It is in the notebook, but it blows up when it comes to a notebook, and that has been a problem for a while that we're trying. We're planning to address.
No, listen, I haven't seen that on the front end roadmap. In those meetings, I have not heard about this, so I'm skeptical that anything is happening.
I was out last week, but Carlo has seen prototype just last week.
It's not finished, and I'm not qualified to speak on the status of the project, but my impression is that things are actually happening.
All right. Okay. Fine. Well, all right. Fair enough.
And the other note that I want to make on the audio object is that we've had this in notebook, in memory mode forever. If you say normal of any audio object, that imports all the data in that GUI itself, and it will be shareable however you want.
Well, that's obscure.
Yes. This is why we're trying to add something that is
right. So do you?
And it's not really that practical. That's a blown up version again.
I know, which is not going to work. Well, so you're basically telling me we can't do anything useful until the blow up.
No, that's not true. So I think that especially for smaller size audio objects, which I don't think are that uncommon, the in-core blown up version is not terrible. The other option that you have when you click that button is to store the stuff in a cloud object. It can be either private.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so why don't you provide that?
It's there. You just click on the button and
that
will
Stephen wants it in the video GUI, I think, right, Stephen? That's there. I'm guessing you want a version of that.
Why does it do something different from this?
Because it relies on completely different mechanisms, and I've talked to Lou and Ite, and what they currently have is not adaptable to the needs of the.
Okay, but okay. So look, this isn't good enough because it doesn't make it clear.
We'll change that.
Yeah, that it actually does something to click this button, and this should say.
what would be nice if I take what Stephen said early on, which I kind of like. I mean, the thing that the sort of stuff on the left there, we use something that indicates whether it's local. You know, I mean, the 3 states basically, like in memory, local.
URL cloud, I think.
Yeah.
General URL or cloud.
So let's say that it was local file system. You click this thing, and now you can see the state change.
Which thing? This thing here?
The left, you know, on the left.
Why would you click the left?
No, you click on the right, but then the state on the left.
Oh yeah,
changes.
no, I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
if you
It
click and
happens
say
now.
store in notebook, that already happens. Unfortunately, we rely on these icons.
I can't see it.
Stephen,
Stephen,
can you
click it.
click?
Store a notebook. There we go. Okay, but it's
Oh,
unclear that
yeah.
that's in the notebook, so it just
Yeah.
needs
So
to say,
as you said, we can make that clearer.
right.
But the
And
mechanism,
this needs to
like
say,
it should be useful.
this needs to
already.
say, just like it did here, store. You know, data not in notebook, store now, greater than sign,
That's
or
fair.
something, or you know, data in local file, store.
Change storage?
No,
Because it's really
no,
either coming
no,
in or
no,
going to
no,
the cloud.
No. The whole point is you're going to store it. Look, I don't know. Look at the wording that's been used elsewhere, please.
Yeah, but
We've
it's
got exactly the
correct,
same
right?
issue elsewhere.
Here we are
not
offering
quite,
two
right?
choices, right?
Yeah.
We're
These other
offering
ones have
choice.
no option to put it on the cloud.
Some
just-
of them do. Some of them do have an option to put it in the cloud.
I've never seen
But
that.
not this one.
No,
think
I know. I don't know why
Sparse
this one doesn't have that option, but it doesn't have that option.
I think
Other
Sparse
things
Array
do have the
does.
option, so go find the ones that do and follow them.
I already did, and in fact we are using some of the code, but we cannot.
I don't care about the code. I care about the words.
Yes,
Okay, so can we find the words and use the words?
you can, if you want, you can do numeric array instead of dataset. That will have, I think, all of the options that you are looking for.
What do you want me to say?
Numeric array of range 1000. That should, if my memory, sorry, 1 million. I think that should bring up a menu. If my memory serves me right.
Yeah, okay. So use exactly the same menu. I mean,
yes.
with the appropriate other things about local cloud, blah blah blah. Okay, so I think what this should say is, okay, normally it should say data not in notebook, store now. Don't say change anything. Just say store now and make it clear that with a Guillemot or something that you click it to get something to happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
And I think as far as size, we can give the file size as well as the expected storage in Notebook, which will eventually change to be
Why
the
don't
same
you show
thing.
this to me again after you've had a chance to iterate it?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a look at some more of these. Remove background.
That unfortunately is not making it 13.2. Okay. We could talk about design, but.
Well, I mean, remove background is something for individual images, and clearly for a video, it's fancier.
Yep. The thing, yeah, maybe we'll come back to this, Stephen. But the thing is that the design we have in remove background is really not holding up, even with the newer methods for image background removal, and falls apart.
What isn't holding up about it?
It's just not working with all the methods, like the neural network methods.
Well, what do you mean not working with it? I mean, you just say remove background of an image, and it does what it does.
Yeah, the default usage
it
works
has,
fine, but
yes.
Specifying options and methods make the two things clash. You might specify an option that makes the argument not work, essentially, unfortunately, with the design as it currently.
I see. Okay. All right, fine. But so you're saying the methods you know don't support the controls that remove background currently has.
Yeah, and some of the new methods are not easily customizable with the controls that remove background currently has.
Okay.
And I have to say, remove background is not as powerful as the function has suggested to be in the past couple of versions. So we're thinking of getting that anyways for image as well, with neural network methods or other more recent methods anyways. So let's come back to this once we have
okay,
a
fine.
better proposal.
Okay. Okay. What is this? Video frame fold. Video fold.
That was very preliminary. It would be good to bring up. Do you have a prototype?
We have there's a prototype in prototype, and there's a CVS page.
Yeah, but it didn't. Last time I heard this, it wasn't very cooked.
Yes.
But maybe we can cook it here.
It's something that maybe could go for 13.2, but we're not convinced.
Lovely, magnificent, but honestly, I think this is such a. I'm not seeing a case. This seems very bizarre to me. For an actual full-speed video, it seems really bizarre.
But there are operations that really need to fold something, like transformations from one frame to another, and then really compose them on top of each other, or things like motion magnification. There are so many operations that really need to keep track of a state separately from whatever is the output.
Sure, but let's enumerate them.
Okay.
Let's do a number of them. Which case, we'll also know what options we need to kind of.
Sure.
I mean, it's magnificent. It's lovely to imagine kind of a functional programming type play. I mean, we don't have a video nest list.
No, the concept of that is strange because
that is strange. Fold is more natural. I agree.
It's natural because it's a list of frames, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nest, I'm not sure what that would mean.
Do you see, Stephen? There's
I
an input
understand
stream.
what you're saying. I mean,
but
it's
I
a
think
transducer of some kind where it's using. I just don't really see this accumulation concept. I mean, the minimal case of fold is like an accumulate, and I just don't see that as being a thing you commonly want to do with video. It's kind of like, what are you doing? You're kind of filling in. I mean, there's an occasional video where you're like filling in all the different.
I mean, the obvious usage is IAR filters, right? Where each next step is computed as a function of the current step and the previous output. So that kind of thing would be made.
Yeah, but where do you use an IAR filter to a video?
That is a good question that we should
let's
research. And
let's answer it first.
Okay. Image rotate. Great. Ethan is commenting about video effects as an alternative to image effect. I think we've talked about that. We're just not quite there yet. Adding support for time varying parameters. Is that obvious how that works, or does it work in some weird way?
So the easiest one, image rotate, that we have first on that list, instead of rotating the whole video by 30 degrees, you can rotate gradually from 0.
Okay, but how do you specify that? In the image, you say image rotate of what? Image
rotate of video, comma, a function, which takes time in seconds as argument.
God, I hate that. I hate that. But whatever. You've done that a million times now. I guess we have to live with it. It's not my favorite piece of design. Okay. Let's look at it.
For curiosity's sake, what do you think would be a valid alternative? Assuming that we, sorry, I'm not sure. I don't want to derail the conversation too much.
I understand the question.
Oh, we should have bullet time.
What does that mean?
Didn't you see the matrix?
Yeah.
It means some kind of, I'm joking, but there are notions of time. There's sort of event time, for instance, right? You know, when this thing happened and do something different.
No, I understand. I understand. But I think Carlo is asking a different question, which is a pure design question of, I don't like the fact you say image rotate of image, 30 degrees or image, pure function. I don't like the idea that that pure function then seeps into the first argument.
I kind of agree with you.
It doesn't. We only take time varying parameter for videos.
No, I understand that, but I mean, as opposed to an image that is somehow going to start singing and dancing at you. Because for an image, it's just there's a single moment in time because it's just the image. But if you have a video, what's happening is somehow that second argument is sort of seeping into. That bothers me. What's an analogy to this? What's an analogy? It's kind of like a map thread kind of deal. Well, go ahead.
I mean, it's literally a different use case. It sees a different type, and hence it has a different configuration of, follow-on arguments.
So
well, except you can do video, 30 degrees, can't you? So it will just rotate the whole video by 30 degrees.
Yeah.
It's the special case of a function that
a non-constant function.
I don't really like it because I think it's somehow, it's a non-constant function, except if that function happened to be 30 degrees ampersand, it will be equivalent to just saying 30 degrees without the function.
Right.
Boy.
So the map thread analogy.
I had exactly this mechanism of both of those cases in my friendly example of SMP. It was a disaster. I mean, admittedly, it was a much more common case there of many functions that had the alternative of either a constant or a function. Okay. And I can't immediately give you a situation in which I mean, in this particular case, you want a quantity object, an angular quantity object there. And so a function f or a string or something would be not, I could imagine a rotate where you say, top left or something like that. I don't know. I'm not thinking of a case where there's an overlap between where you want it to be a pure function and when you want it to be a literal object. In this case, I'm not thinking of an overlap. But I think that,
right.
What's that?
Which is good, right?
Good, yeah, right. I know, but I'm saying I'm worried that there are in fact overlaps with some of these functions.
I see what so I wasn't sure what your concern was. Now I think I have a better idea.
I'm not seeing it with any of these specifically. Unless there's one where, for example, where the image recolor could take a function as its second argument to represent.
Oh, actually, there is some. So, for example, image transformation that takes.
Oh, that takes an argument. That takes a function.
It works. It works surprisingly, but there is
surprising. How can it work? It's taking a frigging function.
Yes, but you can return a function that returns a function.
Yes, but how do you know that the outer function? That's a total hack.
They have very different signatures.
I know it's got two arguments.
So you can.
Yes, that one has two arguments. But if I can imagine another case,
where
one of these things eats a one argument function, and then you're toast.
I agree. I looked at all the functions that we have added this functionality, and none of them seem to have that kind of overlap. But I do agree that if there were
hanging by a thread.
Alternatively, all of these we could do with video frame map, kind of a setup as well. If we
Yeah,
think this
of
is
course.
really hanging by a thread, I think
I
alternative
think it is hanging by a
not to
thread. I
add
think it's
that.
a total hack.
I kind of disagree in the sense that we control the list of things that this gets added to, and we have
I
made
know.
sure that this kind of collision doesn't happen.
Sigh. Until we have a function where it does happen, and then we say, oh, people have to remember this exception because of this obscure thing.
But we have a limited number of image functions that accept videos, and we're not.
All right. Well, look, I don't like it very much, but you've already crossed this bridge with some of the video generators and audio generators where you have, again, this function versus single argument thing. All right, let's keep going here. Change the color of the frame of image. Yes. Okay, has that happened now?
Yes. It's a pretty blue.
And so it is. Lovely.
And I think the usefulness is if you compare graphics of a disk to rasterized graphics of a disk.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's useful. That's really useful. That will save a bunch of stupid confusion. Good stuff. Okay, what's this? Oh, that's just the, okay, image processing, image compose. So that allows you to just compose directly. So if I take this and I say image compose that, comma, style, hello, comma, yellow. That's nice.
Yep.
Magnificent. Okay. Okay. Do we know if people are using image stitch?
We've got some bugs and feedback. So yes. Now this thing is that the projection spaces we have talked about, I think, a couple of times. This might be the third time. The 3 projection spaces we're suggesting we have now is plain.
Which project? What are we talking about? Are we talking
for
about
image stitch?
Yeah, and we're going to have spherical image presumably.
Yep. Well, I think image stitch is not going to be the main source of our spherical images anyways. There are 360 cameras that would give us the bigger, better source.
Right.
Yep.
Although you could be taking pictures with your ordinary camera.
Sure.
And then stitching them together and wanting to make them into a spherical image.
Exactly.
There's an orthogonal image stitch. There's something. What was the other thing you said? These planes for image stitch.
There are planes, there are cylinders, and there are spheres. So these are the 3 modes that we imagine people have the most.
But we have spherical image, but we don't have cylinder image. Do we? Or do we?
We don't. The usefulness of having the cylindrical stitching is that you assume the space around you is a cylinder and not a plane. So the projection avoids having huge warping on the corners of that stitched image.
I understand, but if we're going to do a cylindrical image, don't we need a cylindrical image object?
I don't think so. I think just a stitched image is what people typically want to have, like the panoramas that are generated from phones.
Okay. Are you going to show me this picture? Or
Yep.
You
can start from the one above.
Actually, let me just ask about these other things first. Okay, barcode image, better backend, great, 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 equal. So what is that doing?
That one was discussed in LCC once.
And what's the issue?
The things, we basically changed the heuristics for whether white should be equal to gray level, to RGB color 111.
Yeah, I see.
Or
Which
no.
it should be. Which it should be, right?
I don't think they are actually.
Well, it should be, shouldn't it?
Oh, this one is, yes. And then whether now also do RGB color 1111,
Well,
which
here, let me
is
just show
the
you gray
opacity.
level 1. Okay.
Those two are literally equivalent. Now, yeah, add another 1. That as well should be true. So the logic there was not fully worked out. And now they are.
It is now. Okay, great. All right, let's go spherical here. So I assume that the spherical image thing is dovetailing with Jose's lovely astrographics stuff, right?
What we use here is not using any of the astrographics or geography.
No, I understand, but we
But,
need to
yeah.
do that. I mean,
Yep.
what is this going to be?
And I don't think we can make that clean enough for 13.2, but this is
What
just
is this? What is this?
this.
It's very, very slow.
I think this is a usage of texture and spherical plot from the quick look that I had.
Yep.
What's spherical plot? I didn't think we'd surfaced that yet.
Something
Oh, you designed that in version 6, Stephen.
What? What is spherical plot?
Go look it up. Read this thing documentation.
Oh, spherical plot 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a function plotting thing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No, I understand that. That's fine. That's a useful function.
Right. But
Okay.
I think that's what we said. He's using that as a prototyping vehicle, which is
okay.
totally the wrong thing. But
Yeah, it's totally the wrong thing. Okay. So what are you going to show here? What would you show?
So what we are saying is that with image stitch returning or accepting that projection space being sphere, this is where we're going to go next. We're going to have a spherical image. We could possibly have a spherical video.
Let's start with spherical image that has some kind of viewer.
Yep.
Okay, and where it is possible to get the thing to just be a projection, because I mean we're trying to have, you know, spherical position, spherical, etc., generalizing the geo stuff, right? But you know, you should be able to just take spherical spherical projection and I'm sorry, you know, a sphere image, spherical image. It should probably be called, yeah, it is spherical image, and then you can display it with a spherical projection. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that you could display it in a mole-wide projection or something like this to put it in your notebook. And then there's another thing where even when it's displayed like that, it could have some interactive component where you can, you know, press it and do something. And or if you've got your virtual reality, you know, your VR set up, you can view it in that.
Sure.
actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That we can reuse all the whole projection subsystem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. The plan
Yeah.
from spherical, look, that's the idea for spherical position and spherical, and you know, I guess it's spherical graphics like geographics. That's a Jose production. Okay. We already talked about this, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's nice. I'd like to see some actual design of those. I mean, there's 400 things in import-export, so this summary thing, that's for import, right?
That's for import about 200 formats.
Okay.
And the default is just going to give us some very basic elements, but the framework upgrade is going to allow developers to add any additional elements they want to add to the summary.
Okay. Chess game formats, that's exotic. Be nice if we could
You have to get that from CBS.
where Where do I get it from here?
Oh, formula.
Halfway through.
It'd be nice if we actually do something with the notation once it comes in.
Yep, we have two very excited developers on these two formats. Next up, we're going to have our own engine and a connection to Stockfish, which is the most popular chess engine, and we're going to allow you to play chess in our system.
Okay, but how do we represent symbolically a chessboard?
That string is the best representation. That's called a Fenn string. PGN, which is the other format, is also.
No, I understand that, but if you want to
collection of-
manipulate this symbolically, what do you do?
We don't have that. We
Okay.
could
There was a guy
design the whole.
at the summer school this year who did a nice job of using multi-way systems to represent chess game endings and so on. I think we should, if we're going to do this, we should have some. I mean, I did this whole study of games and puzzles and things, and there was some of these simple symbolic representations of all sorts of things there.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think because we don't want to end up with, boy, how do we do this? Well, I think it's a separate discussion, separate meeting.
Sure.
Definitely.
Because you can't play chess because the rules of chess, like this guy, at least for endgames, encoded them as symbolic transformations. Those rules won't do you any good if what you've got is this weird string thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, all right.
I think I really see this as the simplest first step,
No, that's
which
fine.
was completely a hobby project, a side project, which
But
turned
it'd be
out
nice
to be
if there was
something.
some symbolic representation of this.
Well,
I completely agree. Let's
but-
design it.
Yeah, but
Which
like
takes
many things that we imported early on, we didn't have any objects in the system. For
Yeah.
chemistry or geo or early on.
Right. This was the chap.
Okay.
But I don't know what his representation is. Oh, look, chess position. Oh, that's a useful thing. But this is an example of where, this is computation being done with chess positions. So that's why I think it's useful to look at. Kind of neat, actually. Okay. All right. Anything else for this meeting? We got through it all. Well done.
Very
stuff.
good.
Okay, Roger, I'll see you elsewhere.
Yep. See you in a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.